Okay, this is something I found from Leo Tolstoy's What is Art and Essays on Art. This is from pages 116 and 117, and these are excerpts, not the whole book. Uh, Leo Tolstoy, 1898, What is Art? This is a publishing from 1950. Oxford University Press. So that the theory of art founded on beauty, expounded by aesthetics and in dim outline professed by the public, is nothing but the setting up as good of that which has pleased and pleases us. That is, pleases a certain class of people. I want to say just before this was a highlighted paragraph. I'm going to say what preceded it by a couple sentences. And to what lengths the insanity and deformity of art may go, especially when, as in our days, it knows that it is considered infallible, may be seen by what is being done in the art of our circle today. Special circles of people recognize and approve false, deformed, and insensate art, which subsequently left no trace and has been utterly forgotten. It's a social theory. So it goes on. I'll skip around. I should just read the whole thing, but I'll skip around. In the same way, beauty, or that which pleases us, can in no sense serve as a basis for the definition of art, nor can a series of objects which afford us pleasure serve as the model of what art should be. To see the aim and purpose of art and the pleasure we get from it is like assuming, as is done by people of the lowest moral development, for instance by savages, that the purpose and aim of food is the pleasure derived when consuming it. Tolstoy, page 117, What is Art? Just as people who conceive the aim and purpose of food to be pleasure cannot recognize the real meaning of eating, so people who consider the aim of art to be pleasure cannot realize its true meaning and purpose, because they attribute an activity the meaning of which lies in its connection with the other phenomena of life, the false and exceptional aim of pleasure. People come to understand that the meaning of eating lies in the nourishment of the body, only when they cease to consider that the object of that activity is pleasure. And it is the same with regard to art. People will come to understand the meaning of art only when they cease to consider that the aim of that activity is beauty, that is to say, pleasure. The acknowledgement of beauty, that is, of a certain kind of pleasure received from art, as being the aim of art, not only fails to assist us in finding a definition of what art is, but on the contrary, by transferring the question into a region quite foreign to art, into metaphysical, psychological, and physiological, and even historical discussions as to why such a production pleases one person and why such another displeases or pleases someone else. It renders such definition impossible. And since discussions as to why one man likes pears and another prefers meat do not help towards finding a definition of what is essential in nourishment, so the solution of questions of taste in art, to which the discussions on art involuntarily come, not only does not help to make clear in what this particular human activity, which we call art, really consists, but renders such elucidation quite impossible until we rid ourselves of a conception which justifies every kind of art at the cost of confusing the whole matter. And so to the question, what is this art to which is offered up the labor of millions, the very lives of men, and even morality itself? We have extracted replies from the existing aesthetics which all amount to this: that the aim of art is beauty, that beauty is recognized by the enjoyment it gives, and that artistic enjoyment is a good and important thing because it is enjoyment. Italics is. In a word, that enjoyment is good because it is enjoyment. Thus what is considered the definition of art is no definition at all, but only a shuffle to justify existing art. Therefore, however strange it may seem to say so, in spite of the mountains of books written about art, no exact definition of art has been constructed, and the reason of this is that the conception of art has has there's a Freudian slip, has often, and the reason of this is that the conception of art has been based on the conception of beauty. Definitions of art not founded on beauty. Tolstoy's definition, the extent and necessity of art, how people in the past distinguish good from bad in art, chapter 5. Well, what is art if we put aside the conception of beauty, which confuses the whole matter? The latest and most comprehensive definitions of art, apart from the conception of beauty, are the following. 1a. Art is an activity arising even in the animal kingdom and springing from sexual desire and the propensity to play. That's Schiller, Darwin, and Spencer. And B. Accompanied by a pleasurable excitement of the nervous system. That's Grant Allen. This is the physiological evolutionary definition. 2. Art is the external manifestation by means of lines, colors, movements, sounds, or words of emotions felt by man. That's Véron. This is the experimental definition. According to the very latest definition, Sully, number 3, art is the production of some permanent object or passing action which is fitted not only to supply an active enjoyment to the producer, but to convey a pleasurable impression to a number of spectators or listeners, quite apart from any personal advantage to be derived. Number 3. Art is the production of some permanent object or passing action which is fitted not only to supply an active enjoyment to the producer, but to convey a pleasurable impression to a number of spectators or listeners, quite apart from any personal advantage to be derived from it. So notwithstanding superiority of these definitions to the metaphysical definitions which depended on the conception of beauty, they are yet far from exact. The first, the physiological evolutionary definition is 1a, is inexact, because instead of speaking about the artistic activity itself, which is the real matter in hand, it treats of the derivation of art, the modification of it. B, based on the physiological effects on the human organism, is inexact because within the limits of such definition, many other human activities can be included. I'm going to pause for the next video break.